Well, I guess it's time to get the party started. Here we are. I am your host, Martin John, and this is Tao of the Day. The Tao of the Day, sorry, I'm just organizing myself. The Tao of the Day. What is the Tao of the Day? Do any of you know? This is a point in the day where it's how I start my day. Well, not really. I've been up for quite some time. Um, but it is a thing I do weekday mornings to invite you to an introduction to what the Tao Te Ching is. So the Tao has, um, as I speak about a lot, has helped me really kind of understand how to live a more reasonable life and understand what it means to live my life in a reasonable way. Meaning, not necessarily wanting other people to change for me, but me change the way I see things for myself so that I can see what the world has to offer me and what this moment is here to offer me. And so the Tao is a collection of 81 chapters or verses or stanzas. I don't know, I never know what to call them, but let's just call them chapters for today. And then we can change tomorrow if we'd like. So 81 chapters, and I invite you to pick a number between 1 and 81, and I will read you your Tao for the day. The whole point of the Tao, I believe, is to guide us to understanding the truth, right? It is a reasonable facsimile of what the truth is. It's impossible to know truth. And so, oh, Marcy, man, I'm catching you when you wake up every day.
How do you know
Good
I just woke
morning.
up?
What's that?
Good morning. How do you know I just woke up?
Well, because this was about the time that you woke up yesterday.
Yes, Luna has no school, so we're sleeping in every day.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
and she's right. She's actually sleeping right next to me right now. So,
Oh, and what's her
yeah,
name?
Luna.
Luna. Oh my God. You know, the moon and I are buddies.
Well, my
We're
dad told me I owned the moon when I was a little girl.
you what, Luna?
When I was little, I used to look out the back of the car and I would see the moon following us, and I mentioned this, and my dad said, "Of course it's following you. It's yours."
Oh my God. That's so beautiful. Like it was funny. I was talking to a friend of mine. I was just like, my girlfriend, the moon's up tonight, and and they were like, "Are they cheating on me?" It was so like the moon is such a beautiful. Oh, and I'm sure Luna is as well. Full of
She's
surprises.
sweet. She's
Yeah.
she's just like the moon, ever changing, but
Ever
always true
changing.
to herself.
Mm. And always reflecting the love from around her. Always reflecting that light right back. So beautiful.
She's amazing.
Oh man. Well, let's see if we can't find a number that can help our connection with the moon.
You pick one.
All
Pick one
right.
for me today.
All right, we're going to 41.
Oh, okay.
When a superior man hears the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it. When an average man hears the Tao, he half believes it but half doubts it. When a foolish man hears of the Tao, he laughs out loud. If he didn't laugh, well, it wouldn't be the Tao. Thus, it is said, the path into light seems dark. The path forward seems to go back. The direct path seems long. True power seems weak. True purity seems tarnished. True steadfastness seems changeable. True clarity seems obscure. The greatest art seems unsophisticated. The greatest love seems indifferent. The greatest wisdom seems childish. The Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things.
Hmm. Maybe not that one.
Maybe not that one.
I was joking.
I
No,
know.
I like them. I like them all. So.
Yeah. You know, this one's interesting because it goes through
Mhm.
this litany of stuff. The path forward, light seems dark, the path forward seems go back, the direct path seems long, all of those sorts of things that, it's like, okay, you can get over this now. Like,
Mm,
let's get over that. And it starts with these three stages of our development.
mm-hmm.
The superior man, and that's not a different person. That is the person within us. Like the superior
Absolutely.
person within us, that higher power. As soon as you hear the Tao, you immediately begin to embody it. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to take hold. The average man within us hears of the Tao, half believes it, half doubts it. How many things are we half believing, half doubting all the time in our lives? Like having faith that things are exactly the way they need to be, and that people are moving towards that wholeness. Like we do believe it, but then there are moments where we don't. And like that's in
The
us at every
unknown.
moment.
The unknown.
Yeah.
It's
And
blind faith.
wanting
Mm-hmm.
and wanting that security. I'm sure, with you and Luna, it's just like you want to know things that you don't know. Like about what's going on within her. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
that's a challenge.
yeah. And it's like you half believe it because you have to have faith. But then you keep looking because it's just like I just want a little more security, just a little more, and that's one of those hungry ghosts, right? Those things that you can continue feeding it with security, and yet it just wants a little more, just a little bit. No, I only need a little more. It's all of those things that we're just like on the fence about.
Um, okay. I I don't have a lot of challenges with that.
Good.
Yeah. Like nothing really comes into mind. And a lot of people tell me, Marcella, you're very black and white. I either do or I don't. And that's a challenge for me because there is no gray area a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm big on the gray. The gray is where everything exists for me.
Which is funny because I, all the shadow work I do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it is that I'm actually black, a black or white kind of person, or if it's just the way I'm perceived. Because when I believe something wholeheartedly, I believe it, and when I don't, I just don't. And people always say, "Well, let me try to convince you," and I'm just not that person.
Yeah, yeah. Save your breath, please.
Yeah, very strong on my convictions. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to bring all of this together, and here, and then we go into the foolish man hears the Tao and laughs out loud. If he
Mm-hmm.
didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao. And I know, and I know, like there were times in my life where I was more black and white, especially like when I was in addiction and other things like that, where there was so much that needed to be like looked at, and 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 as I tried to have faith in the way things were, it was really difficult for me to be able to do that. And when people were to tell me like, oh, this is going to work out, this is going to work out, especially when I was in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
it always kind of turned out to be this thing. Well, I don't see it, I don't see it, I don't see it. And even last night, I was telling someone, I have no idea how I got to be the person I am today.
Oh,
I have no clue what changed me to the degree that I am who I am today. Like the
wasn't it you?
person that I was and the person that I am were so different.
But wasn't it you, Martin John, that changed you?
Sure, sure.
Sure.
Sure, that's
Sure.
true. That's true. But how that happened, because when I first discovered this change, this ability to change, this ability to grow, I
Mm-hmm.
was this like I was controlled by this foolish man. I laughed out loud at the idea that I could be something different.
Oh, I see. I always wanted to be.
You always wanted to be different.
I always wanted to be normal because
Mm.
everyone else in my family was normal. And then I realized that I didn't, I was normal for me.
Right. Absolutely. That's why I was like, I don't know what normal is. Um, that's beautiful. And that's the thing, like when we're, I just glanced at this and it said the Tao is nowhere to be found. And I think that that's what normal is. Normal is nowhere to be found.
True.
I mean, if we start to look at these things as normal, the superior man hears of the normal, like, right, hears of, I don't want to say that because then he immediately begins to embody it, but that's embodying himself. And that's the Tao. That's everything. That is normal. When the average man hears of the Tao, if we think of the Tao as being like the broadest expanse of just you being, he half believes it, half doubts it, because he has to, when I look at that half believing, half doubting, it's like, oh well, I half believe I can be who I am, but the other half of me wants to be like everybody else because like I want to be accepted, I want to be approved of by others. And when the foolish man hears of the Tao, the broadest expanse of being, he laughs out loud because, of course, he has to be like everybody else because that's what we understand as normal. If
But
he
I don't
didn't
want
laugh,
to be like everybody else. I mean,
no,
yeah, he
absolutely.
laughs and because he finds it ridiculous. It's like when I talk about black sheep and I tell everyone sheep are sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what color they are.
That's
They're
right.
all sheep.
Right.
What we're looking for is the wolves in sheep's clothing.
Mm.
And everyone thinks that's a bad thing. It's not.
I have a couple friends where I talk about when we mention people or persons or whatever, we include every living thing on the planet because like they all have personalities. So if
Yes.
it has a personality, it's a person.
Yes. Yes. My cats,
Yes. That's at the core of so much of what we talk about.
two furry people. That's what we call
That's right.
them. Our furry people.
Yes. And
Hmm.
that's normal. Like
Yes.
it's they're normal for who they are, for the people that they are. The Tao is nowhere to be found because there is no definition. There is no natural definition of normal. Yet it nourishes and completes all things. And I like that it completes all things. Like it it drives you. And that's a drive within us. And that drive is happening is stronger and stronger as we continue to exist on this planet. That drive for us to be who we are without trying to check a bunch of boxes as what constitutes
Oh, I
normal.
hate those boxes. I don't check them.
Oh, don't check them. Don't check a single one of them.
Sometimes I put other.
Yes. Just I love it when they offer you the I prefer not to answer. Like that's good. I'm sure you're gonna shove me in a box for choosing that anyway. But
Yes.
like, this is the
And then
kind of
they
person
come
you're
to your home to
difficult,
see if you
right?
belong
Like
in Area 51.
yeah. Oh. So yeah, so we have so in this we have these three entities that exist within us from moment to moment. And then all of these, this litany of things that are um paradoxical. True power seems weak. True purity seems tarnished.
Hmm.
And that's like approaching life when you approach life when you approach a liar with honesty, they think you're lying
Of course they do.
because they can't see anything else.
Hmm. You always give me something to think about for the day.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me, and being such a wonderful support, not only for me but for the entire community, because you do you do that.
Hmm. If I can.
And you do. It's not about you can or can't. That just happens to happen. And
Oh,
it's not something that it's it's always great, like, because I feel like I I do the same, but I think that, like, we don't as long as you're not trying to do that, like, it happens. This true path into the light seems dark.
I
Like,
like
you're
to
just
help.
doing what you
You
do,
know.
and it lights the path.
Thank you.
And I think that that's just within you.
My
It's not
niche.
something that you try.
Yeah, no. I don't like to try anything.
That's
Maybe
right.
ice cream flavors, and that's about it.
What? I
Yeah.
had a lavender ice cream. Oh my god! If you've never tried that, you
Oh
gotta
my god,
find it.
okay, next time you're in New York, ice cream date. All right.
Yes.
Have a wonderful day, Martin John.
You as well. You as
All right.
well.
I will talk to you later.
We will speak again. Okay. Wow. Um, Marcy had me choose that one, so I want you guys to know that maybe that one wasn't what she needed to hear, but it was definitely something that I um, was able to embrace because, like I said, I was talking to someone yesterday about this idea that I don't know how I got to where I am. I don't know how I got here, being the person that I am today. I'm fucking awesome, and I remember a time where I couldn't stand waking up with myself. And if you're at any place like that, if you've ever found yourself at a place like that, or whatever, it's and the thing that I told my friend yesterday about this was just that, it's just the little things. Every day there's a little thing that we can contribute, that we can do, that we can change, that we can think about. Like Marcy mentioned, like, I give her a little something to think about. That's great. I'm grateful for the fact that I can offer that, but she's going to be the one that thinks about it. And that is going to change her for the rest of her life. That's going to move her in a direction that is going to change everything, because now she is going to witness the world with that in her mind. Not that I have anything to do with that. It's her work. Something was presented in her world. She sees it, she hears it, she understands it in her way, and she moves forward to do that. She moves forward to continue to complete her life. See, the Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things. The Tao speaks through me, the Tao hears through her, and then it is embodied. And that's how the Tao comes into existence. That's how the Tao that's how the Tao can experience. That's how the Tao can be here. Because otherwise, if we didn't have these bodies, if we didn't have these interactions, the Tao would just be a complete void. It would just be here to receive, and everything would get lost in it. But because we have structure, because we have that yang energy that the Tao can then work through. Right? So when we talk about this 41, when the superior man hears of the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it. That's being, right? Just here, without thinking, without trying to control. When the average man hears of the Tao, half believes it, half doubts it. And as we were talking with Marcy, this concept of like, yes, I know this is true, and yet I work against it. I work against it even though I know it's true, right? I know that we're all connected, yet I work against that connection. I try to manipulate. I try to get more. I try to, do all of these things that, like, when we understand that the whole is connected, we wouldn't be doing, right? We wouldn't be trying to separate. We wouldn't doubt that our safety is imminent, right? We wouldn't doubt that our safety is always being cared for. And that doesn't mean we won't die. That doesn't mean we won't be hurt. It doesn't mean any of those things. But it's okay to do those things. Those things are okay to come across. So the average man hears it down. And I think, like most of us are probably in that average range. I know I am, where it's like, I half believe it, half doubt it. And when I say I half doubt, it's not because I'm actively doubting it. It's just in my actions, they work as if it's not true at times. And so it's always about trying to get to the superior man, get to my highest self, immediately embody the Tao. There are moments where I can embody the Tao, and I can embody the Tao throughout my day. Even right now, my mind isn't doing anything. It's just here speaking. I'm not thinking ahead. I'm not thinking behind. I'm just kind of being here and being present. When a foolish man hears of the Tao, he laughs out loud. If he didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao. Now, this is, this reminds me a lot of people who want proof, people who want research done, people who want answers, right? They laugh out loud. Maybe, an average man will go out, like, half believe it, half doubt it, look for proof so that he can maneuver all of these foolish people into believing, or into being average people, right? Into all of these people who laugh, and just like, look, it's proof, right? This is the research that we've done in quantum physics. This is research we've done in neurology. This is all of the work that's been done in and around the whole manifesting, and all of this sort of work. All of that is to bring foolish people, the foolish man who hears of the Tao and laughs out loud, move them into the average. Just half believe it, half doubt it. Here's proof of some things, and like, we'll sit here and we'll try to manifest. We'll write things down and what have you, and then boom, something will happen, and we'll still half believe it, half doubt it. Right? And I'm not someone keen on manifesting. I don't that whole manifestation, like, I mean, it's true, it's all there, but I just think that it's I have thoughts about how it's done versus, like, we do things for performance. I'm going to be writing a paper with this woman in Germany, and we're going to be talking about how performance is at the key of is at the core of a lot of our burnout, because we want to perform all the time. We want to perform in different ways. We want to, you got to do good in school. So how do you do good in school? Well, you perform well. How do you perform? Well, you study to the test. You don't study the subject. Because if you were to study the subject, there might be something you don't study that's on the test, and you'll fail the test. Well, now you're not performing well, right? So in order to perform well, you cut all of the corners you can in order to get to the destination. When we talk about manifesting, we do the same thing. Cut every corner we can to get to the manifesting. And so all we do is write notes on our on our bathroom mirror, and we tap, and we do all of these wonderful things. And although those things are great, I believe if you can manifest everything, you will understand that you wouldn't want to manifest anything. And that is studying the subject rather than studying for a performance. So this one continues to go into, again, this, like, 3, 6, 9, like, there's a dozen different pairs here. The path into the light seems dark. The path forward seems to go back. The direct path seems long. True power seems weak. True purity tarnished. True steadfastness seems changeable. True clarity seems obscure. The greatest art seems unsophisticated. The greatest love seems indifferent. The greatest wisdom seems childish. So it goes through all of those things. And the one that really pops up to me is the greatest love seems indifferent. And I do love that. I really do. Like I always say, like I don't care. I don't care what you do. I just love you, right? I don't care how you express yourself. I love you. And and that is this unconditional sort of love that I really want people to understand. And it is like, it seems indifferent. It isn't by any stretch, but it seems indifferent because, like, when I talk to people in IOP programs, when I talk to people that have addiction problems, I'm like, look, if you want to get sober, if you want to get clean, good. I can't help you there. And great. I'm glad you want to get clean, but I don't care if you do or not. I don't care if you succeed at that or not. And it's not because I don't care, but it's because I love you. And if I cared about your sobriety, every time you drank, you would feel as if you're letting me down. Trust me, I don't care. If every time you came to me and you were trying to stop smoking crack, every time you smoked crack, you would not want to come back. This is what keeps people out there when they're out there. If you relapse on something, if you're an addict, let's say, like, how long is it going to take you to get back to the treatment center? Well, if you know people at the treatment center, it might take you some time, especially if you believe that their caring for you relied on your staying sober. Like if they loved you for that condition, with that condition in place. And most of us believe that those conditions are in place. So if I believe that someone loves me just because I don't cheat on them, and then all of a sudden I have an affair with somebody, well, then I'm going to be afraid to tell that person because then I'm going to lose their love. But if you love other people, that's okay because it is. You're gonna. If we believe that we're going to meet one person and that person is going to hold our attention for the rest of our lives, well, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to ask, and it's ridiculous to assume that those things are the case. Oh, Julie. Julie is joining me. Hello,
Hello.
my dear.
How are you, mate?
I am doing good. Wow, you're happy this afternoon.
I know. It's a choice I made.
What's that?
I'm happy this afternoon. It's a choice I made.
Oh, well, yeah, continue making that choice. It's a beautiful choice to be made, man. Um, yeah, I had Marcy on. We covered 41, and I'm switching over to the Hogan translation because you and I have read so much Stephen Mitchell that we're gonna see if Hogan has
If
has
Hulk,
something for us.
if
How's
Hulk has
how's
something for us.
what are you 10 days now?
I think it's 11, so it's not far
11.
off, is it?
Well,
It's
yeah,
getting
you
there.
leave on the first. There's only 30 days. Today's the 20th, so yeah, it's 11. Okay, not far off. No, you
Not
are.
far off. Set off on in 10 days' time. We set off on the journey, as
Yeah,
in getting to Norfolk.
right.
So that's the day we leave everything behind. Yay!
Yeah. How is how so leaving everything behind in 10 days, like that's got to be.
Nerve wracking? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
So is this excitement in your voice and like I can feel that in your chest. Is there anxiety?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's anxiety. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
quite happy with it though.
All right.
We've
So you're
been
sitting
working
with
it
it?
out in words,
Yeah.
working out anxiety in words together. So,
Yeah.
you know, that is the great thing is that there are two souls here doing sort of a journey, and both of us are going to take different things out of the journey and gain different things. But
Mhm.
the one thing we have both got together, for whatever reason, is anxiety. And I
Yeah.
expected it.
Of course, of course.
And
Well,
yeah.
and that might be why you're having it.
Yay! I'm
but
transferring to Scotland.
but like the interesting, like because your anxiety and Brad's anxiety is going to be very different.
Yeah.
So you're not having the same anxiety. And like
No.
this is like you're having your experience, he's having his experience, and although you can talk about and maybe relate to each other, they're never going to
Mm.
intersect. And that's a wonderful thing
No.
because like this is
Yeah.
yours. This is like if you can own this, it's like this is mine. How great is
Yes.
this? Like this anxiety is mine personally.
Yeah.
And from this, I get to do something with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. This
Yeah.
is my experience of anxiety. How do I
At this
feel
moment.
about it?
Yeah.
What do I do with it? Yeah. And
That's
it's
right.
like, it's just there.
It's just there. That's it. And like when you get to quiet down and just kind of observe it from that
Mm.
just take that step back from your body and just kind of like, huh, look at that. So
Mm.
how was the photo shoot yesterday?
Oh, that was this morning.
Was that this morning? Did that go
Yeah.
well?
It was enjoyable. The guys were asking us a lot of questions considering they were just taking photos.
Okay. Is it
So
going to be
that
an
was
article or just photos?
its article. I spoke to Jill, the lady I told you about. Jill
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
great name for that day because
Yes, it was.
she was good for you and good for me as well.
That's right.
Different Jill. But yeah, so we spoke to Jill. Thanks, Brad. It's made me a nice cup of tea. Do you want a cup of tea, Martin?
I'd love one. Yeah, please.
Martin asked tea.
And
Yeah,
and what
so
do you say when you want it just tea, no sugar, no nothing, or do you just do that on your own when it comes to you?
yeah, yeah, I'd pop your own in because then you can have it your very own way that you like.
Okay,
Yeah, so we'll
okay.
just bring the tea and pop the milk and the sugar there for you, and you
All
just
right. Well,
do
if I
what you want
want
with
it.
it.
Wonderful. All right.
Uh,
So now that we're settled in, like you got a number for me.
I have. I was thinking quite a long time about this number, and it's 44.
44.
Mm.
What's
It's a
more
very
important?
orientated, yes, very
What's
10th
that? It's very
orientated.
what?
44. Very structural to look at, the number 44.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of angles. So
Mm.
let's see what kind of angles we can find in this. What's more important, fame or your well-being? What's worth more, money or your life? What is more dangerous, winning or losing? If you're too attached to your possessions, they will bring you misery. If you hang on to your riches, you will suffer substantial loss. If you know when you have enough, you will never be disgraced. If you practice moderation, you can stay out of trouble. And that's the secret to lasting success. So
Very.
I like this uh, for a number of reasons. Like one, okay, you're giving away your stuff, so you're there. Like all
Mm.
of this, like money or life, which is like which is more dangerous, winning or losing, all of that. That's great.
Mm.
But it is, and so that's usually where we focus when we
Mm.
talk about 44. But I'm interested in this line, if you know when you have enough, you will never be disgraced. If you practice moderation, you can stay out of trouble.
Mm.
That's the thing that's actually popping out to me currently
Do you know
for
which bit's popping out at me?
yeah, what's up?
The bit where it says it's whether you want to be famous. That one I really like because
Yeah.
that's really something at the moment in my life. Do I want to be famous for doing this journey or do I want to experience the journey? There's a good question.
Yeah, what is more important, fame or well-being? Because I know you and I have talked and
Absolutely.
you're like, I'm going to be on the magazines, I'm going to be on the newspapers, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 But if it was a choice, I think I'd always choose well being, always, because that is my foundation. That is so much more important to me than anything else.
So let's dive into that. Like you would choose well-being if you had a choice.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
this starts to like what are some of the things that you have to do in the next 10 days that revolve around your well-being? And what are some of the things that you have to do in the next 10 days that revolve around your spreading the word or your fame?
Mm. The well being is understanding and being comfortable with myself.
Hmm.
Because at the moment, I can see reflections of people reflecting things to me. A lot of
Mm,
people have said, I'm going to miss you, which is a reflection of what I will be like, what it'll be like for them when I'm not there. So they are reflecting my um, influence on them, say.
hmm. Yeah.
And the other thing they tend to do also is I've got a little bit of jabbing coming my way, and I've experienced that. Yesterday, I was talking to a lot of nurses, and they were all saying, first of all, they said, "You're 73." And then they said, "You're old." And then they kept going on about age, and they were all quite young. And I sat there with it, and I could have become really defensive, saying, "Well, yeah, I know I've got a wrinkly face, and I do look old to me, compared to what I might want to look like." But it didn't matter, and I had to say, and these are the people, I said in a joke, that I'm handing over responsibility of the country to.
Right.
But yeah, it's
Now, it's a
jabbing,
joke.
jabbing, jabbing.
It's a
I said, "Yeah,
joke, sure, but it's
yeah,
also coming
yeah,
from a place of having been triggered.
absolutely." That is what I'm trying to say. I think that I am triggering people at the moment,
Well,
and
yeah,
even people
because
quite close.
so, like here's the you know how we work when we talk about like you see yourself in the things that you don't like. So you're hearing these like, "Oh, you're old, you're this, you're that." And it doesn't seem like it's hurting really deeply because you're not responding. Like you're just kind of taking it on and you're like, "Huh." So this is, I mean, for you, like as you get older, like it's not easy to get old.
No,
Every day you get closer to dying. Like that's a real thing. Like you're there is this, and you are doing this whole path, this stuff because you don't have much more time.
exactly. I
You
want
have to
this
do it sometime.
experience, and I need to
Right.
fit it into my lifespan. And because I don't know
That's
where
right.
that lifespan stops.
Right. But then on their side, it's not about the age. They are just utilizing the age as an anchor for their own maybe disappointment in what they can accomplish.
Yeah,
And so they're hurting because they don't see the potential you see.
yeah,
And they don't know what to do
absolutely.
with that.
Yeah.
They don't know how to deal with that. And so they have to like this is like their experience. Their experience is all about like, well, what can I do? How can I do this? Like this is where this which is more dangerous, winning or losing?
Mm,
Now, if they're here going, well, I'm getting paid, I'm doing all this, I'm winning. You're leaving your job and you're gonna do all this. Like
yeah.
you are risking losing.
Yes.
But which is more dangerous? And when Stephen Mitchell talks about it, I think he says it almost in the exact same way. Um, he says success or failure, which is more destructive.
Mm,
And that's the thing, like their ability to continue to grasp onto or grasp out to being successful because they have a job, because they're secure in where they're at and all of that
mm,
is really destroying their ability to experience this moment.
yeah.
Now that's their experience, but your experience is this
Yeah.
sort of
I need the well-being. That's why I say
right.
more important.
And that's the thing, like the
Yeah. To,
well-being has to be within you. If you look
that's right.
at And it can't be something that you overly think about. It can't be something that you intellectualize. It has to
Yeah.
just be there. And
Yeah.
when it is there, and when you sit and you can have your cup of tea and you can smile and you can be present in your body and you can feel your body, you can be there.
Yes.
But
So
when
I had to
and
practice that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Being
in your mind, here you are getting older, and we have to be able to admit these things to ourselves and really be
yeah.
able to be like, my mind is traveling to these areas of doubt. And it's it's so much more pleasant to live a life where we deny those thoughts, because
Mm.
it's like we don't have to look at the fact that, like, these things are being done, maybe for not always, not 100% the best reasons. We can frame it as, oh, mind, and we can frame it as adventure, and we can frame it as all these things, but we can also look at it and see like, maybe I feel like I've missed out on some things,
Mm.
and I want to embrace this. And when we can, like, just be aware and recognize that that's there, we can
Yeah.
settle into it, because these are possessions, right? Even the experience is a possession.
Oh
If you
yeah.
get too attached to your possessions, they will bring you misery.
Yeah.
Don't be attached. Allow yourself to be. And and when they say you're old, you can't do this, da 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 da, that is a little bit of misery, because you are attached to the possession of doing it.
Yes. But at the moment, I'm thinking, right, I've been given this body. I am inside it. I'm going to use the body as a vehicle to transport myself through time and space. And I'm going to enjoy that.
Yeah, that's right. And to just be in
Yeah.
that. And the thing is, in our world, there's planning and all of
Yeah.
this, and it all
I
makes
wish I knew that.
logical sense, right?
Mm.
All makes perfect sense. Like, I got all of the things that keep me safe. And just like
Yeah.
when I went on my dark retreat, all these things just disappeared as I was getting closer and closer. Things that I thought that were going to keep me safe disappeared. It's
Yeah.
not about trying to keep yourself safe. It's about being here, present, now.
Absolutely.
I got no one in line, so if you want to come up and we'll finish this, be my guest.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Thank you very
yeah,
much. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'd love that. Thank you.
yeah. So this last section of this states, as we were talking, if you are too attached to your possessions, they will bring you misery. If you hang on to your riches, if you hang on to your riches, you will suffer substantial loss.
So if someone nicks my bike, I've had it.
Well, yeah. Well, there's like, if you hang on to your riches, you will suffer substantial loss, and that's the thing. Like, what happens if your bike?
Gets nicked, then I
Yeah,
just use my feet.
right.
And then if my feet get lost, I'll have to just use my mind and my imagination.
So there's a that really kind of brings up the question of, like, the doing it.
Yeah.
The I mean, there is some destination.
Yeah.
There is a place you're going, but
There's lots of places I'm going.
right. But what's gonna end this? Is this something that will end,
Yeah.
and why?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't know of that. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of it. What plan? What thing? What path will suddenly bestow me at the end of this? Because I know there will be one.
Yeah,
And the not knowing about it is great because it means then that I can concentrate on now.
yeah,
That will take care of itself. This is the thing, and I love talking to you about the Tao because the Tao is no matter what. That
Right.
Tao will always be, and it always was. When I go out there and I get on my bicycle, it's the Tao that I'm going to be trusting in. Nothing else.
Right.
So
There's
that's
a
kind of
the
cool
the
with me.
next the next line is really interesting. Just, as we talked about your bike, your feet, your imagination, all of this. If you know when you have enough, you will never be disgraced. Now, although they're talking here about possessions or being or whatever, but if you know when you've had like when you have enough, like even if you know when you've had enough of this, like if you don't end up in the final destination because you've had enough, you will
Mm,
never be disgraced because you
nope.
can just be like, you know what? I've done sufficient. Like for me, if I would have if I would have come to the place where I needed to leave the dark retreat early, I would have. Um or would there have been like like because nothing that I experienced in there was too much.
Mm.
I still hadn't had enough, you know, and but I like to think that I am kind enough to myself that I would have been able to walk away without being disgraced because I would have known this was enough.
Yeah, the thing about that I like to think about, because I always think about things in the experiential. So no matter what the experience is, that is the experience. So if I got to Norfolk and I cycled to Bury St Edmunds and went, don't want to do anymore, that's what the experience is.
That's right.
And I'm happy with that.
Hmm.
And I'd sit there on the grassy knoll and say, golly, all those people who are thinking that I'm going to be cycling all the way across, never mind about them. I've had enough now. I'm good with that. I've had that experience.
As long as, yeah, and that's the thing when we often, in this world, when we get people to back us to do a certain thing, if we don't do it, maybe we feel like
We
under
let
the
them down.
influence of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
important to understand when we have enough, you will never be disgraced. And if you practice moderation, you can stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Moderation, like this. Yeah, you're going to be in the papers, you're going to be in all this stuff, you're going to be doing all this stuff. It's just kind of like, is that a moderate approach? No, but
Mm.
like that's all right. Like
If it's been kind of cool because I've had so many no's that it's in moderation. Those no's that I've
yes,
received
I'm
are
sure.
good no's. They are learning experiences, and they're
Right.
told to help me be moderate.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's accepted without even a problem at all. That's cool.
Yeah.
That,
And I you
that's
know and,
that's
and
a
I
really good thing to learn.
yeah.
Learning curve.
And I think that you're going about this beautifully, and I'm
Mm.
really proud of you, and I'm really excited to be able to be with you on your journey as well as support you.
Yeah,
And
you,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
and
I want you to be along. It's a
oh yeah.
total Martin
Yeah.
John invite, but so
I am I
huge
am
it won't even fit through your letterbox.
yeah, I am there. And all of that 44 just ends with, and that's the secret of lasting success. And so just that moderation, knowing when you have enough. Don't
Yeah,
hang on too tight to your riches, your possessions. Just be here now.
yeah, absolutely. Even the plans
That's
are
right.
possessions. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is. It's all a possession and can bring you misery.
I love you so much. I think
Love you too. You
you
have
are
a wonderful
fantastic.
day.
That's all. Oh, my love. Thanks for you've really kind of like soothed my heart.
Oh, well, I'm
Thank
glad. And I am, like you got 11 days. So
yeah. Let's get
so
excited again.
so start, yeah. Get
But yeah,
excited, but not too excited. You know,
In
as
moderate.
excited as you are at the beginning, as you will be at the end. Like just
Yes.
know that this is here and happening, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Love you lots. I'll let you chat
Love
to
you.
others now. Take care, darling. Bye bye.
Ciao. All right, we're gonna bring Wendy up, my buddy Wendy. Um, hey, Wendy, how are
Good.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just love listening to you read it out,
Yeah,
and process it with everybody. I love it. This is funny. I was talking to my mom last night about
yeah.
certain things, and um, and then I picked up my Dow this morning. So I've already kind of done mine for myself,
Oh,
and
good.
well, I just opened it. That's
Yeah,
what I do.
that's what I
And
do.
yeah, and I found 55, and I took a picture of it, and I sent it to, I'm getting ready to send it to my mom now, because this is something that I feel like she needs to we all kind of have to figure out, because she worries about people. And we had this conversation last night. We had a great conversation last night, and I said, you know what, Mom, it's not serving you to worry about me. Or she doesn't worry about me too much, but my sister and anybody else, my nieces, and things like that, are because it doesn't serve you. She has gut health issues that she tells me about, and that's kind of where our conversations always kind of jump off. And I said, Mom, okay, let's look at this. And I said, you know what? There's a little book. I'm gonna get you. So I opened it this morning, and it made me think of my mom and our conversation last night. 55, 55.
What translation are you looking at?
Wayne Dyer.
Wayne Dyer, Wayne Dyer. Okay,
Hmm.
and I know Wayne Dyer kind of um, used Stephen Mitchell as a jumping off point. So I'm going to use Stephen Mitchell, and
Hmm.
I'm going to read through this, and then I would love to hear how you see this, and where these things are kind of hitting home for you and your mom. Or you don't have to call anybody out, but he who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft and its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know the union between male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly, without desire. He never expects results, thus he's never disappointed. He's never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
Mm.
So, what were some of the things that really kind of like that your mom, or this experience that you're going through right now with her, like what lit up for you within this?
Well, with in the Wayne Dyer one, it just says, I attract the cooperation power of the Tao when I release the need to control anyone's life, including my own. Because that was exactly what she and I were talking about last night. Because I said, you know what, Mom? Listen, she's been on this marble longer than me. Not that much longer, actually. She was 18 when I was born. So I said, it's not serving you to worry about grown people anymore.
Hmm.
you know, I said, Mom, take care of yourself. I said, you have to take care of you. And she said, well, that's selfish. And I said, let's talk about this a bit. We had a long conversation, because she actually she knows psychology. She has a she went back to school for fun, and she got an associate's degree in psychology. And I said,
Hmm.
okay, Mom. So and that's very much a jumping off point for anything, but it's enough that you know the basics. And I said, okay, Mom, let's think back to all the stuff that you are so proud of yourself, because I stood up there and screamed my head off for her when she got that associate's degree, um, about your basics. I know somewhere they told you to put your mask on first. I know they did. I know you learned that
Right.
lesson. And I said, that's kind of basic. So, but she gets lost in that, because she worries, and we all worry. She's a great grandmother. I'm a grandmother. We all worry about the younger people in our lives. But there's a point, and it's like I was telling her, that you got to trust that everybody's on their own path. Everybody's doing their own thing, and you can make your gut health go sideways.
Oh, man.
No, right, if you choose to, but at the same time, and I this was kind of, I didn't mean it to be cold. I said, Mom, when everybody goes to sleep at night, you're probably not the last thought on their mind. I said, yes, I do think about you. Of course I do. I call you, but these people that you're really, really worrying about, are you the last thought on their mind when they go to sleep at night? I kind of don't think so. They're doing their thing. So yeah.
And as I look at this one, and then I hear the Wayne Dyer version, I opened it, but I got to search through it because it's set up a little differently as a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this idea of trusting other people to be able to do what they need to do to live, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what this beginning is like. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child, and here we go into these three different things. Its bones are soft and muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. Like there's a paradox there. There's like you are soft, you are supple, and yet your grip is powerful. Like if you put a bar, if you let a child grab a bar, it can hold on to that bar, and you can lift
Mm-hmm.
the whole child off the ground without touching the child. Right? It will hold itself up.
Yep.
And then there is this, it doesn't know the union between male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. So it has great grip, amazing vital power that it knows in its body. And then it says it can scream its head off all day and yet never become hoarse. So complete is its harmony. Like that child knows everything it needs to do to live its life from here on. Like
Mm,
it can grab onto things, it has vital power, and it has harmony. And all of that is in tune. And the idea that yes, we have to feed a child, and the idea but that child does have the ability to be itself.
yeah. Yeah. And I've said this before. I think we come into this world with kind of what we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
We unlearn things, you know. I think we do. I think the more uh, stuff we hear, because that was a thing,
This is what I call living under the influence.
right? You know, it's like we unlearn things that we were kind of born to know. And that was another thing. She and I, our conversation went. She's worried again about one of the kids in our family. She's like, "Well, he's angry, and I don't know where he gets it." And I said, "Wait, stop, say that again. I don't know where he gets it." I said, "Mom, come on, come on." I said, kids are sponges. Where do you think he gets it? She's like, well, yeah, of course I know where he gets it. I said, he get it from their environment. He's around people who love him but are a little bit, confused and a little bit angry with their own stuff. That's why kids are angry. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. Kids are little sponges, and they come into this world kind of blank and stuff, and then of course they absorb everything that we've got going on, and so
Yeah,
yeah.
they are in touch, man. They
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what is going on.
Are so much so, I mean,
Yeah.
the wisdom I get from my grandchildren, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it takes so long to be able to yield to be taught by that. I think when young parents they look at their children and they're like, I have to do this thing for this child. Like not in a bad way, but in a way of just like I am caring for this child rather than this child is teaching me some stuff and I need to pay attention while I'm going through all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in awe of my grandchildren because I watch them watch other people. I watch everybody, and so sometimes I'll hang back and I'll watch them watch other people, and I watch their eye contact, and I watch how it darts from one person to the other, and they're taking in all this stuff. Oh my gosh. I just watch those little brains, like those little minds just whoo. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then they look at me and I'm like, "You're okay." But
Yeah,
I don't have to say anything. They look at me and they're like, it's like this real big quick check that we're doing with our eyes.
that's
And
right.
they look at this person, they look at that person, and they're a little bit frazzled, and then they look at me and I'm just smiling at them. They're like, "Okay." it's all good.
Okay,
Cause
I can continue. You know, it's when we learn as adults, when we learn, we get so overwhelmed so quickly. You know, like when we're starting to learn new things, when you're learning a new language, if you're learning a new I don't know, math, whatever it is you're trying to learn. You know, even when you have a child, like overwhelmed, right? Overwhelmed,
yeah,
like and trying to balance that and all of these things, we get overwhelmed. And the thing is, as children, like babies, you know, 1 year, 2 years old, like all of that, like they are overwhelmed every minute of the day, which is why they sleep so much. Like
yeah,
every
right.
time they wake up, there's new shit that they have to take on.
Hmm.
And as they're taking this on, it's overwhelming because they're learning. They're learning who you are. They're learning who other people are. They're learning what smiles are. They're learning about space. They're learning about speed. They're learning about all of this stuff, and it's all so overwhelming. And they go to sleep.
Yep.
But they are learning, and they are learning all on their own.
Yep.
They are observing and learning as they need to. I was speaking to people yesterday who, you know, are dealing with they were dealing with the loss of a family member and some other things because of an incident with drugs and alcohol and all of these other things. But we were talking, and it was very much like when I was asked to speak, I kind of had to remind everybody, each of you have your own experience and you've learned things all on your own. And the experience that you're having with this thing that's happening is powerful, but none of you are having the same experience.
Right. Exactly.
And you
Exactly.
have to recognize that your experience is unique and needed, and so is theirs. And just being able to appreciate that in that moment was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah, because that's it. It's perspective. Everybody, we come in at different times.
Hmm.
Even children, your birth order and all that stuff. Look at how
Oh,
different kids
I'm a
are.
big birth order. Like, oh, I'm big
Yeah,
on birth order.
right, exactly. My kids are completely different. They have different situations, and in some ways they're very much alike, and in some ways they're completely different. They come from different places. They had one mom, but different situations and different times. So
Yeah.
they're completely different individuals, and I can just sit back and do the best job I can do. But I also have to let it go and trust that I showed up with and did the best job I could do, and trust
And
that.
that and that's where this ends up, where it's like the master's power is like this, like a child, like just being able to be present. He lets things come and go effortlessly without desire, never expects results, thus he's never disappointed. And I'm sure there were times you were disappointed as a parent, but now it's like, no, I can be present with this now. I hope. I mean, I think that
Yeah, no,
that's the goal.
it is because of course I've done that whole what did I do wrong? Oh my goodness, when
Yeah.
they're struggling and I raised everybody the same. Why are you unhappy now and you're not? But I have to say, and my husband and I say this to each other, we did the best we could do at that time, and we're okay with that because
Right.
we're okay. We're okay. So we don't worry to pieces like my mom's doing because we know we did the best job that we could do given the circumstances we were given, and yeah. So
You know, it's interesting. You know, you talk about your mom a lot today, and I think that, you know, your mom being from an older generation, I think that you were, you know, the veil was lifted for you a little earlier. Now the veil is being lifted from your mom a little bit more, and she's like, oh wait, like like maybe she's always been like this, but she's
yeah.
held on,
Yeah,
you
she
know.
has.
And so it's and so it and when you speak to her, it makes no sense to her to just let go. She's like, how can you let go? That doesn't make any sense to me. It
Yeah,
doesn't make any
yeah.
sense to
She
me
she she
because,
thinks it's a little cold, actually.
right, yeah, she thinks
Mhm.
it's cold. She thinks you're being mean. She thinks you're being selfish. And the thing is
Mhm.
that's because her concepts of the world come from this more masculine, forceful, logical place. And yours
Mhm.
have yielded to this more feminine allowing space, which is where we're moving as a society, as a global movement is moving into this space of yielding and allowing. But your mom being from a different generation, she's still holding on to all these old concepts that, it has to look a certain way in order for it to be a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna time out, but
Well, come
yeah.
back up if you need to. Yeah,
Oh,
please.
okay. I'll come back up real quick.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Good.
No, she and I, we've had some really frank discussions, and this happened last night about why I don't speak to my dad anymore. Um, because I'm the only person in my family that doesn't, because I was able to say, you know what, this behavior is not acceptable for me. And she was married to this person for a long time. Um, but she finally did say enough. And I'm like, I'm proud of you for that. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you for that. But it took her a very long time to get there. And so we talk about it, and he never shared his last conversations with me, and I didn't think he would, because I'm sure he's probably ashamed of him, and because I left him in peace and said, you know what, I got to stop you there. Yeah, you're getting ready to cross my boundary. Uh, so when he did, I just said, you know what, I think I got to go. I got to go, and I was able to leave him in peace for the first time. So she and I talked about that, and the fact that she had this idea in her head that she had to hold this family together, come hell or high water. And I'm like,
Right.
oh no, okay, because I wasn't one of those kids that ever thought things were my fault. I didn't, and that was a blessing to me, because I was yeah, I kind of look back at everything going, okay, this is not my fault. Even when I was told, this is kind of all your fault, I said, no, it's not. At breakfast, my dad one day said, this is kind of all your fault. And I said, actually, it's not. Can you pass the milk?
Yeah.
Because it's
And that's
not.
exactly, and that's just, these older generations that are still here. And this isn't anything bad. It's not anything like they can't see what you can see.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
And that's just it. It's like they want, because they live in a logical existence, because they're living in this space of just, stuff, because we needed that. We needed them to do that. But we're done now. We don't need more
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Right? We
Right.
don't need more stuff. And so, like, in their minds, they're like, yes, this is your fault. There is someone to blame, and here it is, it's you. And wonderful how I don't have to be responsible for my experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I can just put it on you. And so your mom, as loving as she is loving in a way that isn't the language of today. She is loving in a way that we don't communicate anymore. Or many people
Yeah.
still do, but like you don't. And so when she looks at you and gets mad, because my mom gets mad at me for my quote unquote indifference,
Exactly.
but my indifference is so much more loving than her sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes, because I've been called, it's so funny, because in my family I've been called cold and
Yeah.
indifferent. Oh, plenty of times. Plenty of
Yeah.
times. And I'm like, no, because I feel everybody's pain. I do. I do.
Right. Of course you do.
But at the same time, I'm going to have to take care of me, or I know I'm useless to
Right.
everyone in the
And it's
big
not
scheme
just
of
you
things.
taking care of you. Like that really I feel like just saying that limits what you're actually doing. What you're actually doing is giving people space to take care of themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And you are loving them in that. Because the only thing that helped me as an addict was someone showing me respect and allowing me to find my own love for myself by loving me without condition. Meaning, like, they weren't going to tell me how to do it. I had to do it myself. And when you step back and you allow someone to make their mistakes, but you're still a support, you allow someone to do the things that they're doing so that they can, when once you realize that, wow, you're trying to get back at me by hurting yourself. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of people do that, right? It's like, I'm going to go ahead and take poison and then blame you.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And you know, and she and I have we've started having really great conversations because I love her to pieces. I do. And you know, when you call, it's gonna be, what's going on? Oh no, this is what's wrong. Broom, and you're gonna get that laundry list first. I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to find like the thing that makes it the upswing on it. Like there was an incident in with her best friend. Gosh, this lady's grandson. He was on a little tricycle thing and he fell into their fire pit. So he's got really bad burns and stuff. And so he's in a burn unit getting all this attention that he needs, and that's great. And so she tells me this story, and she's like, you know, I told her, you need to tell your son, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ooh, really? Really?
That what you did?
Yeah. I said, well, Mom, I said, I kind of think this guy's kid's in a burn unit right now, and he's probably processed all this stuff himself. I
Oh, you muted. I'm sure you got a
told
call.
Margaret,
I'm gonna give you a. Oh,
yeah,
yep.
no, I said, you know, because he's actually a friend of mine who I went to school with. And I said, you know what? His child is in a burn unit, Mom.
Right.
And, you know, you don't have to tell him anything. He's lived that experience. He's learned the lessons. He's done with it. Don't rehash it with him, for goodness sakes. Why would you heap that guilt on him? Don't
Yeah.
do that. That's, yeah, yeah. Come on. Let's go back to your psychology.
I had to do that recently with my mom, just as an aside. I have a my sister has a child who is, you know, struggling with gender identity and some other things,
Hmm.
and they aren't able to struggle with that. They aren't able to address that. They aren't able to be who they are when they are visiting their father. And my mom one time was just like, they don't do it for their dad. And I was just like, they don't feel safe. It's
Yeah,
like, let me put this into perspective really quick. Because it's not about them trying to get one over on you. It's about them not feeling safe with their father. And
yeah,
then it was just like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I didn't feel safe as a child. Like I like there's like this is why I understand what's going on with them.
yeah,
Because you can't sometimes. And again, older generations, it's harder to get through because they don't see things in that way. They see things as their responsibility. And so they have to sacrifice. And it's like, well, one, you don't, and that's not helpful.
right. No, it's not. And it keeps some people stuck. You know, there's people in my family that are very stuck. And, you know, and I have done the calls and stuff because I did retreat into myself for a long time and just didn't talk to anybody when I needed to
Hmm.
take care of myself. Then when I started showing up again, and again, I listen. So I listen to my mom and my sister and blah, blah, blah. And I know all the stories, my nieces. And I kind of feel like I'm the center of this stuff. And so when they're going, I just don't know why they did this. I said, well, let me just, as just somebody who's on the outside, I can kind of give you my perspective if you'd like it. And then when you do, it gets really quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really quiet on the other end. So it's all good.
You know, this verse, before we go back to the verse ends with, uh, he is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old. And I think that's really important. I think that's something that like your spirit can attest to, as can mine, and all of us that can like really embrace these concepts, these ideas, these things that we're talking about here. And the more disappointment you carry in your heart, the older your soul gets.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You gotta let it
Yeah.
go. Let it
That,
go. My granddaughter, she's funny. She said, "How old are you again?" And I told her. Even my mom said that last night because my mom always, you know, she does the math backwards because she knows how, or forward rather. She knows however old I am, and she doesn't really know exactly. She's 18 years older than me, and she does not want to be old. So I said, "Mom, I'm 58." She said, "No, you're not." I said, "I kind of am. I'll be 59 this year." And she said, oh, I don't know how you could be because I'm not old enough to be your mother. And I said, I know you're not.
You never were.
Exactly. Exactly. I love you to pieces. We're more like sisters.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, Wendy, thank you so much.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
always such a pleasure, and thank you for your continued support. I'm always so
Always.
grateful to you.
Oh, well, goodness. Just thanks for being here. Anytime I want to process my Tao of the day. Thank you.
Oh, always happy.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.
You too, love.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, we're gonna bring Lois up, and then and yeah, we'll see if anybody else wants to come up. You know, I'm always here.
Well,
What's
I
up?
got in. I don't believe it.
What's that?
I got in.
Yeah, there's no. Today's been a pretty chill day. It's been a pretty
Oh,
chill day.
okay.
Oh,
All right. I'm
yeah.
just so that's. I'm just
It's
flabbergasted.
just like yeah. Well, boy, it. How many
Okay.
people are ahead of me?
Let's go with number 72.
72, and you know, like you and I, we deal with Hogan's, so we're in this other translation. Let's see what we got.
Okay.
When you show no fear at all, the universe gives you something to really be afraid of. Don't try to fence people in or grind them down. Just let them be, and they'll always be on your side. The masters know themselves, but they don't reveal themselves. They love themselves, but they know what their lives are worth. They let go of all that to concentrate on this.
Wow.
Mm.
That was weird. that
Yeah, yeah. This
was
one
weird. Okay.
I do like. I wanna read it all one more time, and then I
Okay.
wanna go in and I wanna start because this one is really beautiful. Like I'm seeing this one as being really, really pretty powerful, and I do like this
It is pretty
translation.
powerful, but it was like it was. It was okay. Read it again.
Read it again. Let's start there. Yeah. When you show no fear at all, the universe gives you something to really be afraid of. Don't try to fence people in or grind them down. Just let them be, and they'll always be on your side. The masters know themselves, but they don't reveal themselves. They love themselves, but they know what their lives are worth. They let go of all of that to concentrate on this.
Okay. All right. So basically, I'm basically hearing that. Gosh, that it's a lot to unpack.
It's a
Kind
lot to
of.
unpack
That's why
because
I
it
was like,
ends with this like scoop of just like they let go of all of that to concentrate on this.
yeah, because it,
That blows everything out of the water.
yeah, that's why I said, huh?
Right.
I
So
was like,
let's go through this. First of all, let's start at the end. They let go of all of that to concentrate on this. They let go of all of that to concentrate on this. The that they're expressing here is the everything that's being written about. All that's being written about, all of the intention, all of the thought, all of the mental stuff
mhm.
that we're going to talk about, to concentrate on this. And I believe what concentrate on this means is this right here right now as we're reading it.
Okay, that's what I thought
This,
too, but I wasn't
right,
sure
to
because of the.
concentrate on
Okay,
this. What is this? This is
now,
whatever is going on right now with me, actually, as the reader.
right?
That's kind of how I'm reading this. Okay,
Okay,
so we go back to so that's how it ends.
okay,
Um, and so everything that we're going to read is going to be the thing that gets let go of. So
right.
let's start by reading it, unpacking it, and then recognize that we can let go of all of that to be here now.
Okay, so with the one about let go, about the fear, if you fear nothing at all whatsoever, yes, you're gonna get something to fear because there's a dichotomy. It's gonna be up and a down. So
That's
the
right.
thing are things to fear, and there are things that you got to listen to because I know I don't necessarily fear in the sense of like that of some things, but I know there's some things I'm like, hey, let me back up
Hmm.
off of that. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I see this. I see this in a very similar way. I'm going to read this first
All
line so that we know where we're at. When
right.
you show no fear at all, the universe gives you something to really be afraid of. This is kind of when I was gonna get when I was gonna tell you when I was a kid and I got spanked and I got hit and all that kind of stuff. It was always this kind of like, I'll give you something to cry about,
Oh yeah, I
and
hate.
that was anytime I cried.
Okay, me too.
You
And
want to
that's what
cry?
I
I'll,
got.
I'll give you something to cry about. And that's what this reminds me of, and this idea of like but it says when you show no fear at all, when you're trying to convince yourself, when you're trying to avoid the fact that you're afraid, when you're
Yeah.
trying to lie to yourself
Mm-hmm.
that you have fear. And here's the thing: how many gangsters out there? How many gang members have? I mean, I met a ton of them that they're
Me
just
too.
running on fear.
Yeah,
They're
it's all fear.
just running on fear. It's all
That's
fear based,
but
and
fear.
yet they're out there showing no fear, making sure that they get seen as if there is no fear. And
Yeah,
what do they have to face every day?
yeah.
More things that they're afraid of.
Johnson and everything. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Because I know there's things, still things that I know. Like I said, But anyway. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I get it. But that's the thing. If you show no fear at all, and all this is saying is like,
Be you. Be real, and
be
ain't nothing
real.
bad. Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
gonna
It's
be.
okay to fear something. If you don't
Yeah.
know what you fear, then you aren't going to know what you need to work on.
Thank you. And that's no, because I like you. See, that's why I like you. Okay, come on, but let's go.
Okay. Then it continues. Don't try to fence people in or grind them down.
That's easy. That's like how I do with my kids. I don't. They knew they had when they were young. They knew they had boundaries, but then they knew they were free at the same time. You know, they knew they were going to have certain things, but they knew they were free to choose. It was just like you got this is here, but this is here. You know what I mean? So I kept that world opening up all the time. So and I didn't. You should have did this. You should have did that. You should. I was never one of them parents. I'd give them some advice, and I was like, okay, well, I said, pay attention to the cause and effect. What are the consequences? If you do this, then what? That's why Charente is always if then. If you ever hear her, she talks about her
Mm-hmm.
scientific method. Okay,
Yeah.
it, because I taught them that there was consequences to everything, whether it's good or bad. There's going to be a consequence. Consequence don't necessarily mean bad. That means you do something, you're going to have an effect. So this thing tell this one is basically telling me that that you can't lock them down, but then again, it's like temperance. Here, temperance. I just put that word on it
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's easier to put that word on it for me to try to explain what I'm trying to explain because it ain't coming out clear right now.
No, I gotcha. So I'm gonna finish reading this little section. Don't try to fence people in or grind them down. Just let them be, and they'll always be on your side. Now, I want I want to with you. I want to look at that and the first line because these two things seem separate, but they can't be. So when you show no fear at all, the universe gives you something to really be afraid of. Okay, that's one thing.
Right.
Don't try to fence people in or grind them down. Just let them be and they'll always be on your side. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
fuck those two things got to do with one another. I see just let them be and they'll always be on your side. Meaning, going back to the fear, if you show no fear at all, meaning if you show no fear, but you are afraid,
Uh huh.
what are you afraid of? Like you allowed your children to do what they wanted, but if people are afraid their children aren't going to make the right choice and they're showing no fear and they're trying to be dominant over their children, what are they trying to do? They're trying to fence in their
I mean,
children, they're trying to grind them down.
they're trying to limit them.
Right. You want to limit them so that they live under your influence and they are easier manipulated. They are
Which
easier to raise. They are easier to manage because you can predict what they will do.
yes, But then you know what? You know what? That is so real. That's just back to that when whooping you to cuz or whatever, and it will give you that sense of fear, and it boxed you in. I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna say me. Okay, I can't say you.
Gone.
That fear, that fear that was put upon me when it says I couldn't cry when they was beating the hell out of me, and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
lock all that in. It fenced me in because I wasn't even free because I became fearful every time. I would never cry. One, that locked all them nasty emotions in,
Mm-hmm. At
and two,
47 diseases later.
thank you. Okay, and then picking up everybody else's stuff along the way as a therapist. Okay, come on now. I
Yeah.
got to contend with, but that was fencing me in. That was fencing me
I
in
love
the
that.
sense
Okay.
of holding, having to lock all my emotions in, not being able to express when it was clearly getting hurt. Okay, and then being
Mm,
afraid to cry
mm.
because I would get more of the same. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was fencing me in, pushing me that my ass down.
All right, let me step back on this and let's change some wording around so that
Okay,
we can understand this a little better. When
okay.
someone shows no fear at all, the universe gives them something to be afraid of.
Mhm.
Don't try to fence people in or grind them down. Just let them be and they'll always be on your side. Now what we're doing by saying when someone shows no fear, the universe gives them something to really be afraid of. If you want to care for people, don't fence them in or grind them down. Just let them be and they'll always be on your side and they won't try to hide their fear.
Thank you.
They won't try to hide their fear to the point that the universe has to continue giving them things to be afraid of.
They don't, because they don't have to be fearful because you're not
Right.
going down and boxing them in. They're allowed to be free
You're
to be
not
themselves.
teaching them fear.
No, you're not teaching them fear, and then you're not. And when you're not, when okay, say for instance, I'm a leader and I want everybody to follow the letter of the law. That's fencing them in. But I'm the kind of leader that I give you, I give you your the prescription or whatever the rules or whatever it is supposed to be, the way to go, and I let you decide what you're gonna do. Okay, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
do. That's what I did with my kids. That's why they knew cause and effect. I better do my research and development if I come to my mama because I would not. I taught them to make healthy decisions for themselves, not to satisfy my ass.
Oh,
Okay,
hell.
I wasn't the one who had to live with this shit,
So
and
now we move
I
on.
thought consequences would come on their own.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
now we get to see this kind of wrap up in this really beautiful way that says the masters know themselves, but they don't reveal themselves. They love themselves, but they know what their lives are worth. Now, when we look at these two things, right, and relate those back, we say
Yes.
we know ourselves, but we don't reveal ourselves because we want Sharente to be Sharente, not me.
Yes. Yes.
We love ourselves,
Yes.
but we know what our lives are worth. Our lives connected to everyone else's is
Yes.
worth so much. And so we don't want to get people afraid of expressing fear. It's okay to express fear, but we're also not going to propagate fear.
That's right. There it is.
And
Now
then here at the
head up.
end, well, go on.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
And then at the end, it says, we let go of all of that and
Yeah.
concentrate on this. And I
Yeah.
think we were right in the beginning when we were like, we let go of all of that stuff, all of that fear, all of that knowing, all of that fencing people, and all of the rules. And we
Yes.
concentrate on this moment right now.
That's
And
right.
by concentrating on this moment right now, by being here right now, we can be at one with the Tao. We can be present to what is needed in this moment.
Amen. You didn't see me over here dancing. I don't know when people get to talking and it's resonate. I get chills and I get to dancing over here. Just But and I can't make any noise because I haven't found nothing to make noise that wasn't irritating. You know what I'm saying? To say I'm clapping, yeah, but that is the way it is, you know. And you're at peak when you're in right now, because in right now in this very moment, all my needs are met. I have no needs. I have nothing to strive for. I'm just in this present in this moment. Everything I need for life is right here in this moment. Every moment, you know. But thinking ahead and thinking behind only trips people up. You
That's right.
know, that rear view mirror and that doggone telescope. You know. So I don't know, but this was a good one. It was a good one
Very good.
because
Very
it made me. This one actually made me think. Okay, I'm like, oh, I know what that means. I'm like,
yeah.
wait, this one is like, whoa, wait a minute, this is one of them. But thank you, my Martin.
I'm always like like I had to dig deep with that one too, and I really appreciate the way that Hogan expressed it.
I think
Um,
we played off each other good on that one because everybody
yeah,
liked me. And I was like, oh,
so beautiful. Thank you so much, Lois. Love you. We're gonna bring Mojo on. Mojo, you been hanging out with Daniel? What's going on? You guys hanging out? Going to hockey games? What's happening?
Together. You see us catch us together at Huntington Beach. That was
So,
epic, epic.
who did you guys go see? What hockey game did you see?
Well, the hockey game was not with Daniel. That was with my brother-in-law and my
Oh, is that your
buddies.
brother-in-law? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I
But
don't
we went.
like I don't like I can't tell all the time.
No, no. I did meet Daniel at Huntington Beach on Sunday, which was
Okay.
just epic energy, as you can imagine. And then last night I went to the LA Kings versus Anaheim Ducks game here in Anaheim, not far from
Uh,
where I live.
are you a hockey fan? I mean, you're
I
on the
am not.
front row.
No, I'm not a hockey fan at all. But my friend Pete, who is sitting 2 seats away from me,
Uh-huh.
he works at a school that's pretty high end neighborhood
Uh-huh.
for people with means. And so one of the parents of one of his students has season tickets right there on the glass and gave them to Pete so that we could take Dave, who's my brother-in-law and autistic, to the game. And he was out of
Oh,
his mind. He was
beautiful.
out of his mind, just banging on the glass the whole time. We were laughing our heads off. It was awesome.
Oh, that's great. Like
Yeah.
it seemed like a very like it seemed like a very fun, and I'm like it just happened to have Instagram up, and your post is there, so it's just
Cool.
sitting in front of me right now.
Right.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
beautiful, wonderful, yeah, like yeah, you get around, man.
It's been quite a week, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not been as active as you, but I have had some wonderful conversations, and this is this is no slouch at all. So,
No way.
what number do you got?
All right. Let's go with 20.
20. Oh, good one. I don't know that I've read 20 in quite some time. I mean, I don't recall it. Oh, yeah, Saba. This is one of my faves.
Zaba, zaba, zaba,
this is
zaba. I love that.
this is
I'm
this
already
is
excited and I
a
have no idea what you're going to say.
yeah.
Zaba, zaba.
That's awesome. All right, so this is one of the lines that really clinched my love for the Tao is the first line of this one, and it is a longer piece, so I'm going to read it through, and then
Yeah,
we'll go.
great.
Stop thinking and end your problems. What difference between yes and no? What difference between success and failure? Must you value what others value, avoid what others avoid? How ridiculous. Other people are excited, as though they were at a parade. I alone don't care. I alone am expressionless, like an infant before it can smile. Other people have what they need. I alone possess nothing. I alone drift about, like someone without a home. I am like an idiot. My mind is so empty. Other people are bright. I alone am dark. Other people are sharp. I alone am dull. Other people have purpose. I alone don't know. I drift like a wave on the ocean. I blow as aimless as the wind. I am different from ordinary people. I drink from the great mother's breast. Yes, it's been a while since I've read that one, but I like it.
Wow. I do too. Yeah. Because I got to tell you, I haven't heard one I didn't like for that matter. But
Yeah,
um,
this is true. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
never like, oh, I gotta read this one.
right. Oh, not that one. That one sucks.
Right.
No, well, one line, it's all beautiful, and I'd like to hear it again, but the one line that jumped out at me is, I'm not like anyone else. I think that's my interpretation of whatever it said, but I
Yeah.
had this beautiful conversation with Marcella, who's out there in the audience clapping about the definition of weird, and we just went off on how weird we are and how awesome that is to be weird, because weird
Yeah.
originally meant just being able to determine, make your own decisions, and somehow that was weird in the 14th century, and that's kind of weird today,
Yeah.
but that's a good
That
weird.
sure is. Sure is. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yes,
No. And Marcy was on earlier, and we were talking about normal. You know, we were talking about the fact that like when you can be you, that is normal, and normal doesn't have a definition. And the Tao is the grandest of all, like the broadest spectrum that we can imagine. So again, this 20 starts. Stop thinking and end your problems. And I think that's, you know, like and you know, this ends with I'm different from ordinary people.
there we go. That's the line.
And that first line is stop thinking and end your problems. I'm
Mm,
different from ordinary people. Like if we could just, I mean, we can probably get rid of everything in between and just be like, stop thinking and end your problems. I'm different from ordinary people.
boom,
Like
boom,
that.
right
That's
there.
all you would need, right? Because everything else in here just kind of pushes that uh, 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 that message. What's the difference between yes and no? What's the difference between success and failure? Must you value what others value and avoid what others avoid? How ridiculous. I
Exactly. How
love that.
ridiculous. How ridiculous. I love
That's
that
right.
too. And yet that is the pressure that we all live under all the time. And I see it in my daughters. I've talked to Marcella at length about this. My 13 and 15-year-old daughters, when I drop them off at school, it just breaks my heart because everybody looks exactly like each other. They're wearing the same clothes, they're walking the same way, they got the same haircut, the same eyelashes, and they all feel like they have to be like everybody else. And if they look different at all, then they're going to be, unaccepted or judged or whatever, feel terrible about themselves. And that's exactly the opposite message we should be teaching our kids, that you're not like anybody else, and that's a good thing. You're not
Right.
supposed to be. There are no extra people on the planet. We're all designed for our own uniqueness, and that's the best thing to celebrate.
That's right. I used to watch this program called MST3K, Mystery Science Theater 3000 on
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah. The silhouette sitting in front of the
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
screen. Yeah, yeah, right. Loved
Well,
it.
they were covering a like a short, what they call it. It was like one of these educational films from the 50s about hygiene, I think it was.
Okay.
And there was this there's this whole thing, and near the end, like a boy gets up and he, like, goes to flirt with a girl. And in the thing, it's all about like, hey, if you clean yourself you can get a date, that kind of a thing.
Right. Junior
But
high films. I got it.
right.
Yeah.
And one of the remarks was, hey, I couldn't help but notice how much you look like everybody else.
Yeah. No doubt.
And it
Oh,
was
just
and what like, we should be, I mean, not should be, but like, how embarrassing to just be like everybody else.
well, I like the word that the Dow uses. How ridiculous.
How
That
ridiculous
that's
to
the
be
right
like,
word, right?
yeah, that
That's the
is
right word.
absolutely the right word.
That's
Yeah.
exactly the right word. Yeah, and man, I don't know how to teach this to my kids because I'm the last person they want to hear it from, other
Right.
than just doing it. I am weird and I'm proud of it. And sometimes it's really embarrassing to my kids, and they're like, "Okay, Dad, that's all fine when we're at home, but we get in public, got to dial it down because you're embarrassing me." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try. I'll do my best, but I can't promise anything, right? Because
Right.
I just am what I am." And of course, I don't embarrass them in front of their peers, but I just want them to have a model that says your uniqueness is actually what you should celebrate, not hide, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And as this continues, it says, and I love this as well. Other people are excited as though they were at a parade. I alone don't care. I alone am expressionless, like an infant before it can smile. That really
Mm.
resonates with me because, like, sometimes I'm just like, what are you guys laughing at? What are you guys like that? Like, it's so often like the childish sort of childish in terms of mean. You know, like when you make fun of people, especially like when comedy goes to the lowest common denominator and stuff like that. It's not fun. It's like you're getting behind this thing and you're excited about this thing, and yet it's not productive.
Right. Yeah, there's to me this is a big difference between childish and childlike. Childish is immaturity, right? That's what you're
Right.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Childlike is that openness and curiosity that we should celebrate. And I think so easily in our society we get those two things mixed up, and we say you cannot be childlike, but really what we mean is you shouldn't be childish. And then the kids don't get it. Then they think, okay, well, what am I supposed
I
to
want
do?
to be
Act
an
like a
adult.
yeah, act like a grown up. Well, don't do that. Don't do
Right.
that. Don't do that till you
Grown-ups are
actually
the
have to.
childish people on the planet.
Exactly. Yeah, in terms of immaturity, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
This really just kind of again, I really feel like this one can just be these two lines: stop thinking and end your problems. I'm different from ordinary people. Be different
boom,
from ordinary
right,
people. Like that's so important. But then it continues here: other people have what they need. I alone possess nothing. I alone drift about like someone without a home. I'm like an idiot. My mind is so empty. And that's another line in here that I really love. Like I love this idea. Like I'm like an idiot. I personally want to be like an idiot in this way of my mind is empty. You know, I don't want to come here with preconceived ideas of what I'm supposed to expect or who you are or what you're going to give me or any of that. I just want
yes,
to be here like an idiot.
yep, or even who I am, because as you and I have talked
Absolutely.
about at length, who I am in this moment is beautiful, but I wasn't. I'm not static. You're not static. You're not meant to be exactly who you are now, tomorrow, or even in your next talk, right? So even as the idiot is a really harsh word. So immediately I recall to that. What? No, I'm not an idiot. But this is idiot in the best sense. Like I don't know what I don't know, and that's okay. In fact, that's really good because then I'm open to new possibilities all the time.
Right. And if you step to the word idiot and you recoil from it, that means you've stepped to it with a definition.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Predefined, and I've given a
Right.
negative connotation. Right.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like I love this like because if you stop thinking, well, yeah, maybe you're an idiot. But that's okay. It's like what's wrong with not thinking? Not thinking is the thing that like Dr. Rao and I am always talking about. It's just like, can you stop it? Can you just stop it? Would you
Stop
please
it!
just stop
Just
it?
stop it!
Stop
Stop
it.
the madness! Stop the madness!
And then
Yeah.
and then it continues to these multiple things. Other people are bright, I alone am dark. Other people are sharper, I alone am dull. Other people have purpose, I alone don't know.
Again, this language, right? This language is really challenging for me, which I'm loving it because at first blush, I would read that and say, no, no, I don't want to be dull. I don't want to be dark. I don't want to be the one that doesn't know. But that's when I'm going to be like everybody else. So it's actually reinforcing the whole meaning is the same, just with different ways of saying it. And
Right.
I love that it's challenging me to say, what do you think about these words mean, right? What have you defined them to mean? And could it mean something else? Is there another possibility for this exact same word? Oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's like, when you talk about other people are bright, it's like I want to be seen as bright. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So
Right.
does everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
it's funny when I think about and I've thought about this my whole life, even when I was in grade school. Like everybody wants and likes the same shit. Like
Seriously.
everybody, like, what's your favorite food? Pizza. What's your
Yeah.
favorite? And like I remember when I was in kindergarten, like the eighth graders would interview us, and they one of the eighth graders asked me, "What's your favorite food?" And I said, "I don't know, my mom's meatloaf." Like I literally, and it was just like, "Don't you like pizza or like this or that?" And I was just like, "Yeah, those things are fine."
Right.
But
Yep.
it was like this, and I was just like, why would you want me to say pizza?
Yeah.
Why would you want me to say that? Like just because you like it? And isn't that, and I remember when I was younger and, in 18, 19, whatever, like when I was like looking at tattoos and stuff, everybody that I knew was getting the same bullshit tattoos that everybody else was getting.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Yep.
know, and it's
Yep.
really interesting. It was just like, I just want to be like everybody else.
Well, how about the irony of, and I see this all the time, the irony of those who say, "Yeah, I'm gonna rebel against the norm," and then they
Right.
turn out looking just like everybody else who's rebelling
Like
against the norm,
that's
and they
right.
just they
That's
just
right.
become a whole nother norm, right? It's
What's the
just so
difference between
right.
yes and no? What's the difference between success and failure? Must you value what others value, avoid what others avoid? Same thing. Just because you're part of a different group, maybe one that is more on, there's more of a minority. But
Right.
now there's not. Now, I mean, we're going to have people like going into their 60s and like they're going to have like 50-year-old tattoos and shit. Like they're going to have
Absolutely. Yep.
40-year-old tattoos.
Yep.
It's
Sagging
just like,
tattoos. That's gonna be
that's
beautiful,
right. And
right?
it's like, and that's fine. That's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But it's like,
Right.
all of this sort of like, you just did what everybody else does. Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
That's just so funny. Those who are trying to be rebellious are being rebellious, just like every other rebellious person, and they're creating a new norm.
That's right. That's right.
That happens
I,
generation after generation, by the way. Yeah.
yeah. And,
Yeah. In terms
and,
of
and yeah, it shifts
it
between
shifts.
those
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting. I drift like the waves on the ocean. I blow aimless as the wind. I am different from ordinary people. I drink from the great mother's breast.
Mm. Man, I just love. I'm different than other ordinary people. In fact, that challenges me too. Okay, so what am I defining as ordinary? In
Right.
fact, am I making a judgment there? I'm different than ordinary people. Well, this is a yes and for me, right? Because I am different, and I'm embracing that, and that's a good.
Come back up and let's land that. If you can come back up. There we are. Good. Because I want, because I do want to finish going through this one. It's such a good one. Okay.
Conversation. I walked away from my phone, and I was like, "Oh, where'd it go? Where's my phone?" Ah, too good. No, so I was just saying the word ordinary, right, in this particular thing can be a judgment that so
Hmm.
so to me this speaks to pride and humility, which is really a challenge for all of us, I believe, especially for me. Not especially for me. It's a challenge for all of us.
Yeah.
But even even by embracing my weirdness, and I am not like the rest, like the ordinary, I am making a
Hmm.
judgment about everyone else. So I have to be very careful that that doesn't become a source of pride. Like, yeah, I'm different, and so I'm better.
Yeah.
No, sorry, wrong answer. Stop playing that game.
That's right. I used to do that as a protective mechanism when I was an addict. I'm different. Like I'm not like you. I'm weird, and like I would have T-shirts that was like I love my attitude problem and all this kind of stuff. Like
Right?
and I got this and I got like and I'm not like everybody. Like but that was coming from a place of fear.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
for
was
sure.
coming from, Lois and I spoke about this idea of fear today, and we were talking about that idea of like, if you don't have anything to fear, the universe will give you something to be afraid of. Like, and
Absolutely.
and
It
that's
won't
the
take
thing.
long
Like,
either. Yeah,
I was pretending to not be afraid, so I was never addressing my fears, so it just continued to multiply.
yeah. The picture that came into my mind just as you're talking about that is that I think there's an innate fear of the unknown, and sometimes we call it darkness. But darkness can just be what you don't know because you haven't turned the light on yet. And I,
Right.
I love the idea that if you if you've been living in a dark room for a month, a year, 10 years, 100 years, as soon as you turn the light on, it's gone. Right? It doesn't matter how long you've been there; it's
Yeah.
instantaneous. And so I'm just embracing this idea that, you know what, I need to be more comfortable. I want to be more comfortable with the unknown, with the uncertain, with the undefined, because that's really where revelation comes, where epiphanies come, where I am open to the endless possibilities.
And I think that's really what the great mother's breast is. And I think that's what they're talking about here. The great mother is the great feminine, is this yielding to what is. This
Mm,
and what is nourishing you.
yeah.
That is what you're drinking nourishment in this moment from the ability to receive.
And that also speaks to me, Martin, that it's not just from me. There is a source there's
Yeah.
a source. There's a source beyond me, right? I am attached to it in terms of suckling like a baby, and I grew in the mother's womb, all those type of things. But I'm still my own person. But the nourishment is coming from a source beyond me, from without me, but still is a part of me.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something that, like that's Tao, that's Brahman, right? That's what Dr. Rao and I talk about. This is the thing beyond thought. Stop
Yeah.
thinking and end your problems. Stop thinking and be here right now.
Stop that! Stop that thinking
Stop
right
it.
now.
Just would you stop it?
just,
Stop it.
just stop it.
Just
Now I know why when you turned to 20, you went. Gah, 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 gah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
such a good one. So good. This one is just like there's an anchor here for me, and I really love it. Oh,
And
thank you so much.
thank you. I always
Absolutely.
appreciate your time. Have a great day,
We
brother.
will, yeah, we will be in touch. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's a good Dow for the day. If anybody wants to come up, of course you're welcome. Pick a number between 1 and 81. Otherwise, I'm gonna just start winding down. I'm Martin John, your host for Tao of the Day and the Recover Yourself podcast, which there will be some new podcasts coming up. I'm talking to Mary Wagstaff of the Wagstaff Coaching. I'm talking to a couple other scholars, and I am also putting out a couple episodes for and around my dark retreat. I'm going to have a kind of a travelogue of my dark retreat, and then I'm going to be hosting a room at some point in the next couple days around just so that you can ask me anything you want about my dark retreat, and that will be another episode. So I am grateful for anybody that would be interested in joining me for that, so that I can create that as an episode for my Recover Yourself podcast. Other than that, I will be making some dates for my workshop. So if you're interested in my workshops, definitely DM me on Instagram. I also work with a limited number of one-on-one clients every month. So if you like what I'm talking about, if you're benefiting from my work, you might want to talk to me about doing some work together. When I work with people, I only work with you for 4 sessions and release you to continue recovering the life that you have. I do not want you living under my influence, and so much of what I talk about is about living under the influence and getting out from under the influence so that you can live your own life, which is why I talk about it as being this point of recover yourself. So, if you benefit from what I'm talking about, I will take tips through Venmo at @MartinJohn_Garcia, or you can check me out on my link tree and you can tip me from there. Thank you so much for being here, following me, and following the Tao. The Tao is a beautiful source of inspiration. It has been for me, and I hope it is for you. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.